was asked a beautiful question the other day, and I thought, you know what? You're right. I need to answer this question. So, what is intuitive energy healing and how does it work for me? As an intuitive healer for almost 2 decades now, it's interesting as I think about that question because it can be different for everybody. So, I'm going to explain it to you from my point of view, the way that I've seen it, the way that I've seen it work with my clients, and how I work with my clients, and also working with myself. In doing this work for so long, there's been different levels of understanding for me, but I want to explain it to you in a way, hopefully today, that you can understand. Because sometimes we just don't know. I have a lot of people say, well, is it Reiki healing? No, what I do is not Reiki healing, not even close. I don't even have to touch you. I do all of my stuff over Zoom. There is no reason to even be in the same room. And now they've decided when I first started this, I remember doing Reiki and it was all we had to be in person. Now they've decided that it's okay to not be in person. I always thought that all along the way because to me, energy is energy. Energy is not just being in a room with someone. I can connect with someone's energy over a Zoom call, over anywhere, over a phone call, over. So it's not about being in the same room. So we'll throw that off the chopping block here. So it's not Reiki healing what I do. So what I do is, to me, energy healing is working with you on an emotional level. So if you understand anything about the chakra system, we all have those beautiful, I'll make it very simple and sweet for you. We all have this beautiful energy that's outside of our bodies. And it all connects to the inside of our bodies, which is connected to that chakra system that, a lot of you, I'm sure, if you're in the spiritual world, have heard about. I won't go into, I have other classes on that, and it can be kind of a big deal. But basically, where I work is on that emotional level. And this is where I have found that I tap in with people, I connect with people on that emotional level. I'm able to feel their emotions inside of their bodies and help them work through them. Because a lot of times we don't even know what's really going on the inside, right? Like we're just going through our day, doing our thing. We don't understand why we're so grumpy or why we're so ornery. We're not really giving ourselves that time to tap in on the inside. Now, the thing is, you can learn to do this as well. You can learn to do this for yourself. I've just become very proficient at it over the years, and I'm very good at tapping in. I also am able to see experiences for you and to see things that maybe have created these emotional. I don't really like to call them blocks, but that's what people understand. If I tell you got an emotional block going on, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know what that means." I call it more of an emotional constipation because if you're blocked, you're dead, in my opinion. Like it's never really blocked. It's just that there's heavier, low vibrations going on in there with the emotions that are preventing you from really stepping up and stepping out and really dropping those belief systems and moving into a more honoring way for you. So I connect with you on that emotional level. I see experiences in your life that have really impacted you. Over the years, I've been able to connect with a lot of people. They're like, I just don't know why I feel this way. I don't feel like I belong here. I don't feel like that I belong in my family. I feel like that I'm a pain in the ass to everybody, or I feel these things that keep hanging us up over time. And the cool thing is I'm able to connect in with that and go, oh, okay, well, you know what? This is where I connect it back to inner child healing. And we go back to those places where they began, where that first began for you. And we can go back and talk about that, really recreate that scenario for you. I ask of people a lot of times, how would it have felt if you would have had the support that you needed during that time with whatever was going on in your life? How would it have felt if you would have been able to speak your truth or say what you really thought and not been afraid? How would it have felt to, get that love from your mom or your dad, or not feel like that you were just a big pain in their butt? So we talk a lot about those kind of things. And by doing that, you're able to release that energy that is stored inside of there. And on top of that, you're also able to open that area up for different vibrations to come in. So this is where we start talking about, really moving in more love into that area, really opening up that space for different things instead of thinking that you were just a pain in the ass. Now we can open up and rediscover, oh my gosh, you know what? I really wasn't that pain in the ass. That was my parents' deal. That was whatever the situation was. And that really was never about me. And as we honor ourselves in that way, honor our feelings, work through those feelings, it really opens up our system for a different way of thinking. And then at this point, this is where we bring in, I have added in nervous system regulation. This is where I help you regulate that nervous system, help you feel safe and secure. Because sometimes when we move stuff out, we want to immediately fill it back up with crap, and we don't want to do that. So we balance this nervous system so you don't feel the need to go find something to make you feel safe and secure. So we balance out that nervous system, helping you feel safe in your new shell, so to speak, in your new way of thinking. And then the other thing that I like to do after we do that is really work on changing that thought process. Because as we move that stuff out on the inside, it really makes it easier to work on the thought process on the outside. So when you hear yourself go, "God, I'm such a pain in the ass," you can go, no, that's what I used to think. That's how I used to feel. But today I know that that isn't my truth. And we can really start to tap into ourselves and pay attention to ourselves. Intuitive healing, in my opinion, is one of the quickest ways to make the biggest transformational changes in your life. Energy is quick. Energy can move out. It sometimes takes our mind and our bodies a little bit longer to catch up. But that's where that nervous system regulation comes in. That's where, if you look on my phone on any given day, I have a ton of mantras on my phone, ton of reminders of what I want to be thinking of, because our minds want to tell us everything that's not true. And we get to choose to not let that be our truth. Just like we told ourselves stories growing up about why the things were the way that they are, we can change those and tell ourselves new and different stories and really create the life that we desire. Energy healing to me is one of the, I won't call it easy because it's not easy, but I will call it, I've seen a lot of different modalities. I've seen a lot of different things. To me, this is kind of like talk therapy on steroids, because you get the opportunity to clear out the garbage. If you just talk about something and you don't ever take out the trash, you don't ever get anywhere. We take out our bag of rocks and we look at each one of our rocks and we discuss our rocks, but then we put the rocks back in the bag. I use that analogy for different kinds of therapy. Energy healing is not that, because once we've taken out the rock, we talk about the rock, we throw the rock away. It does not go back into the bag. It does not go back home with you because it has no purpose there anymore. There is no reason to keep it. There's no reason to keep it hanging around. We don't need a reminder. We don't need to stay in that place anymore. We can really work through our childhood issues, work through the belief systems that we have created by doing this process. I actually taught a class not too long ago about my process of releasing, and it is a lot along these lines, really identifying. Journaling is a great way to identify what's really going on the inside. If you get up and you're just having a bad day, start to free write and ask yourself what's really going on. At first, you're going to write that you're mad at the dog and you want to kick the dog and you woke up tired and blah, blah, blah. But eventually, you're going to get to what's really going on, because your mind's going to calm down enough that you can make space for the real thing to come out. And I guarantee it's going to be something that you're telling yourself. You're beating yourself up over something. There's something going on. Something has triggered something inside of you that is causing this total disrupt inside of your system. And when you can get clear on that and allow it to open up, and journaling is a great way to do this if you're a journaler. Talking to someone like me, an intuitive healer, is another great way to do that. But once we can get very clear on it, then we can release it and work through it. So this is kind of how I see energy healing from my point of view. We'll be talking more about this for sure. But as you work through your beliefs, as you work through things that are going on, it's life changing. I promise you, anytime you can devote time and energy into yourself, into really discovering who you really are, it's going to be transformational in your life. So that's my take on all of that. I hope that's helpful.